Hello, great morning everyone. I'm Teacher Ami or Maria Amihan M. Gire, Teacher 3 from San Luis, Batangas, Mathematics 7 teacher. So we will continue for this week to discuss about integers. So last time we discussed the addition and subtraction of integers. So this week we will discuss the multiplication and division of integers and its properties. So our topic for this week is about properties of operations. Learning competency illustrates the different properties of operations on the set of integers. So let us recall addition and subtraction of integers. To add integers, so to add two integers with the same signs, add their absolute values and affix the common sign in the answer. And to add two integers with different signs, subtract the absolute values and affix the sign of the addend with the greater value or absolute value in the answer. So, I hope clear po to each and everyone how to add integers. And now for the subtraction of integers, to subtract a sign number, add its additive inverse, or it means in subtracting integers, change the operation into addition and then change the sign of the subtrahend. What once changed, apply what you've learned in adding integers. Now, in multiplication of integers, so the product rules of integers are the following. Number one, the product of two integers with the same signs is positive. If A and B are integers, so A times B, the sign are the same, both are positive, so the product sign is positive AB. And negative A times negative B is equal to, the sign are the same, so positive AB also. Example, negative positive 2 times positive 3 is positive 6. Negative 2 times negative 3 is equal to positive 6. Number 2, the sign of two integers with different signs is negative. If A and B are integers, so example, negative A times positive B is equal to negative AB. The sign are not the same, so negative ang product sign niya. Then, another example, negative 2 times positive 3 is negative 6. So, positive A times negative B is equal to negative AB because the sign are not the same. Or another example, positive 2 times negative 3 is also equals to negative 6. So, I hope clear din po at maliwanag kung paano natin i-multiply ang integers. Kapag magkaiba po ang sign, negative ang product sign. Pag parehas na negative or parehas na positive ang sign na i-multiply, it means the product sign is positive. Now, in division of integers, so the quotient rules of integers are the following. Number 1, the quotient of two integers with the same signs is positive. If A and B are integers, so A divided by B, the sign are the same, so the quotient is positive A divided by B. Example, positive 10 divided by positive 2, so they are both positive, so positive ang quotient, then 10 divided by 2 is 5, so the quotient is positive 5. Negative A divided by negative B, parehas sa negative ang i-divide, so the quotient is positive. Positive A divided by B. Example, negative 10 divided by negative 2. So, negative divided by negative is positive and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So, the final quotient is positive 5. Number 2, the quotient of two integers with different signs is negative. And if A and B are integers, negative A divided by positive B, the sign are not the same, so the quotient is negative A divided by B. Example, Negative 10 divided by positive 2, so the sign are not the same. Negative divided by positive is negative, and 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. Therefore, the final quotient is negative 5. Another example, A divided by negative B is equal to positive divided by negative is negative, and A divided by A over B. Then, example is negative 10 divided by negative 2. So, positive divided by negative is negative, and 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. Therefore, the final quotient is negative 5. So, I hope clear po. Again, a difference between the multiplication and division. This rule is not applicable in addition and subtraction of integers. So, I hope clear po ang multiplication and division of integers. Now, we will proceed to the properties of integers. But before that, to answer the learning task 1, complete the table below. So, 5 plus 3 is equal to blank, 3 plus 5 is equal to blank, 0 plus 6 is equal to blank, 11 plus 0 is equal to blank. The quantity 2 plus 3 plus 4 is equal to blank. 2 plus the quantity 3 plus 4 is equal to blank. 2 times 7 is equal to blank, and 7 times 2 is equal to blank. 1 times 10 is equal to blank. 1 times 8 is equal to blank. This is not point. It is 0 times 21 equals to blank, and 5 times 0 equals to blank. Copy and answer learning task 1. So I hope maliwanag po kung kung paano ang gagawin sa ating learning task number 1. Now, in properties of addition and multiplication, or properties of integers, are the following. The first one is closure property of addition. Example 7, or positive 7 plus positive 12, it is equal to positive 19 because the sign are the same. This is one of the example of closure property. Another example is negative 15 plus positive 12. The sign are not the same. Subtract. 15 minus 12 is 3, and copy the sign of 15, which is negative. So the total sum is negative 3. This is closed for addition. Since the addends are integers, the sum is also an integer. So that is closure property of addition. Closure property of multiplication. Example, positive 5 times positive 9 is equal to positive 45. And another example of closure property of multiplication is negative 3 times negative 8. The sign are not the same. So negative times positive is negative. And 3 times 8 is negative 24. Therefore, the final product is negative 24. So this is closed under multiplication. Since the factors are integers, the product is also an integer. Another properties of addition and multiplication is commutative property of addition. Example, positive 6 is equal to negative 2, and it is also equal to negative 2 plus 6. Nag-iba ng position, but still the same with 6 and negative 2 ang ating i-add. If we add 6 plus negative 2, the sign are not the same. Subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4, and copy the sign of 6, which is positive. Also in negative 2 and positive 6. So 6 minus 2 is 4. So we have the same sum of positive 4. Another example, negative 8 plus negative 3 is equal to negative 3 plus negative 8. So 8 plus 3 is 11, and copy the sign of negative. Also in 3 plus 8 is 11, and copy the sign of negative. So the final sum of the two addends is equal to negative 11. So for any integers of a and b, a plus b is equal to b plus a. So the order of our addends will not affect the sum, and that is commutative property of addition. Another is commutative property of multiplication. Example, Positive 7 times negative 5 is equal to negative 5 times positive 7. The sign are not the same. 7 times 5 is negative 35. And negative 5 times 7, the sign are not the same. Negative times positive is negative and 5 times 7 is 35. So the final product is negative 35. Next, 10 positive 10 times positive 6 is equal to positive 6 times positive 10. Therefore, the product is positive 60. Kahit balik na rin ang pwesto ng dalawa, still hindi affected ang product. So it means for any integers of a and b, a times b is equal to b times a. The order of factors will not affect the product. So that is commutative property of multiplication. So I hope po maliwanag po ang tinatawag na commutative property of addition at commutative property of multiplication. Now, another properties of integers is associative property of addition. Example, the quantity of 3 plus 7 is equal plus negative 4 equals 3 plus 7, the quantity 7 plus 4. Ang groupings po na pagsasamahin ay binago pero ang pwesto po ng bawat addends ay hindi po nabago. The same, only the groupings. So, 3 plus 7 is equal to 10. Bring down negative 4 equals bring down 3 plus the sum of 7 plus negative 4 is positive 3. Therefore, 10 plus negative 4 is 6 and 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. Wala din pong nabago sa pag-a-add. So, another one is negative 6 and positive 8 ang ating groupings plus 5. Then, sa kabila is equal to negative 2 plus the group of 8 plus 5. Negative 2 plus 6 plus 8 is equal to 6. Then, bring down 5 equals negative 2. Bring down negative 2 plus the sum of positive 8 plus 5 is 13. And 6 plus 5 is 11. Negative 2 plus 13 is also 11. Therefore, for any integers of a, b, and c, the quantity a plus b plus c is equal to a plus the quantity b plus c. Different groupings of addends will not affect the sum. And that is associative property of addition. Now, in associative property of multiplication, example, open bracket, 4 times 5, close bracket, times 7 is equal to 4 times open bracket, 5 times 7, close bracket. So from this, the product of the inside the bracket is 20 times 7, and bring down 4 times the product of 5 times 7 is 35, and 20 times 7 is 140, and 4 times 35 is equal to 140. Another example, open bracket 2 times 6, close bracket times negative 4 equals negative 2 times open bracket 6 times negative 4 close bracket. So, the product of negative 2 times 6 is 12. Bring down negative 4. Bring down negative 2 times the product of 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. Then negative 12 times negative 4 is equal to positive 48. And negative 2 times negative 24 is also equals to positive 48. Therefore, for any integers a, b, and c, the quantity a times b times c is equal to a times the quantity b times c. Different groupings of factors will not affect the product, and that is associative property of multiplication. Once may nakita po kayong groupings, hindi po nabago ang pwesto ng bawat addends at bawat multiplicand and multipliers. Therefore, that is associative property of addition and associative property of multiplication. So, I hope maliwanag po ang tinatawag na associative property of addition and associative property of multiplication. So, another property is identity property of addition. Example, 15 plus 0 is equal to 15, and 0 plus negative 8 is equal to negative 8. Any number added by 0 is equal to a number. So for any integers of a plus 0 is equal to a, the sum of any number, and 0 will always be equal to the number. The identity element of addition is 0. So, iyan ang tinatawag na identity property of addition. Palaging ina-add sa 0 ang identity property of addition. The identity property of multiplication. So the product of 32 and 1 is equal to 32. And 1 times negative 15 is equal to 15. For any integers of a times 1 is equal to a. The product of any number and 1 will always be equal to the number. And the identity element of multiplication is 1. So that is identity property of multiplication. So I hope po maliwanag po ang tinatawag nating identity property of addition and identity property of multiplication. Next property is called the additive inverse. Once in-add natin ang dalawang opposite number, ang sum is always equal to 0. Positive 10 plus negative 10 is equal to 0. Negative 2 plus positive 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, for any a plus negative a is equal to 0. The opposite of the given integer is called its additive inverse, and the sum of a number and its additive inverse is 0. So, this is called additive inverse property. The multiplicative inverse property, example, 3 times its reciprocal. Reciprocal of 3 is 1/3. 3 times 1 is 3 over 3, and 3 over 3 is equal to 1. Negative 5 times its additive inverse reciprocal is negative 1 over 5. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. And over negative 5. Negative 5 over negative 5 is equal to 1. Then the reciprocal of the given integer is called its multiplicative inverse. The product of a number and its multiplicative inverse is 1. And that is multiplicative inverse property. So I hope maliwanag po ang tinatawag nating additive inverse property and multiplicative inverse property sa bawat isa. Now we have the zero property of multiplication. So the zero property of multiplication, example, negative 98 times 0 is 0. And 0 times 12 is equal to 0. Therefore, for any integer of a times 0 is equal to 0, and any number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. And that is zero property of multiplication. Now, in distributive property of multiplication over addition, example, 6 times the quantity of 4 plus 8 is equal to, pwede nating i-multiply muna, bring down 6, then the sum of 4 plus 8 is 12. Or multiply 1 by 1, 6 times 4, and 6 times 8. And 6 times 4 is 24, and 6 times 8 is 48. Then the product of 6 times 12 is equal to 72, and 24 plus 48 is 72. So another example of distributive property of multiplication over addition is negative 5 times the quantity of negative 3 plus 10 equals to, distribute natin ang negative 5 times negative 3, negative 5 times positive 10. So bring down negative 5, the sum of negative 3 and 10 positive 10 is 7. And negative equals to negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15, plus negative 5 times 10 is negative 50. Then the product of negative 5 and 7 is negative 35, and the sum of positive 15 plus negative 50 is negative 35. For any integers of a, b, and c, a times the quantity of a plus b plus c plus, I repeat, for any integers of a, b, and c, a times the quantity b plus c is equal to ab plus ac. Adding first before multiplying or distributing the factor to each other will give the same result. So, nakita po natin ang illustration in both zero property of multiplication and distributive property of multiplication over addition. So, I hope maliwanag po ang tinatawag na zero property and distributive property of multiplication over addition. So in our learning task number 2, complete the following to make true statements. Determine the property applied. So dito atin munang kukumpletuhin ang statement at ano yung ginamit, anong property ng integers ang given sa 1 to 10. So kung yung ba ay closure property of addition or closure property of addition or closure property of multiplication. Kung yun ba ay commutative property of addition or commutative property of multiplication. Kung yun ba ay associative property of addition or associative property of multiplication. Then identity property of multiplication or identity property of addition. Additive inverse ba yun? Property o multiplicative inverse property. Zero property of multiplication or distributive property of multiplication over addition, or that is identity property of addition or identity property of multiplication. Then in learning task number 3, so I hope clear po ang learning task number 2, identify natin kung anong property or property ng integers yung given at i-complete natin yung statement. In learning task number 3, still we need to identify the property being used to solve the each problem. Problem number 1, I go to the store and buy instant noodles for 7.75 pesos, can of sardines for 16 pesos, and 2 sachets of coffee for 12.25 pesos. How much money do I need to pay? So, anong properties po ba ang ating gagamitin to solve or to form mathematical equation? And of course, follow pa rin natin ang kung paano mag-solve ng problem solving. Next, number 2, Mrs. Mijares needs to buy 2 sets of 8 notebooks and 5 pens for her son and daughter for their school supplies. So, how many items of school supplies does she needs? So, I hope clear din po kung paano natin sasagutan itong learning task number 3. So, let us recall again the properties of integers that we need to answer learning task number 2, and number 3. Ito po yung closure property of addition and multiplication, commutative property of addition and multiplication, associative property of addition and multiplication, identity property of addition and multiplication, the additive inverse property and multiplicative inverse property, the zero property of multiplication and distributive property of multiplication over addition. So I hope po maliwanag po ang ating discussion for this week about the properties of integers. So I hope po malaking help ang videong ito upang higit natin maunawaan ang lesson natin for this week at masagutan ng maayos ang lahat ng ating learning tasks and activity. Then thank you for your time and watching. Happy learning to all. Keep safe everyone. God bless.